Hello Pixies, we are back at it again with a brand spanking new video for Warframe. If you're not already following, maybe boop that follow button and be sure to hang out with us in Discord and most importantly on Twitch, where you can get your questions answered real time with the community. We're live Monday through Saturday at about 8 a.m. I say about because I'm real good at time. But we're live Monday through Saturday and I hope to see you there sometimes. So what is today's video about? It is the second part of our, you guessed it, spy series. Today we're going to be going over URANUS Spy and doing a more in-depth look over the loadout and build and frame that I personally use for spies, which, surprise of all surprises, happens to be Limbo. I know. At this point I am the Limbo person. I am the Limbo Andy, and I'm just going to go with it. If it turns out that I just have a copious amount of Limbo videos by the time that I'm continuing to make Warframe videos, whatever. We can check that box. English is hard. It's the only language I'm fluent in, I would know. So anyway, without further ado, let's get down to business. As I said in my last video, the loadout that I use for spies with Limbo is pretty straightforward. It's just a whole lot of a duration. And that's honestly the most important bit. I also add on some movement speed because being speedy certainly doesn't hurt when you're trying to go through all of those lasers and things as quickly as possible. And this will tie into the Parazon Loadout that I use that helps me with the spies in particular. Now, the thing about Limbo is he's honestly really good for spies since he can walk through lasers without triggering them while utilizing his passive Rift Walk, which you can access infinitely when you just press shift. This doesn't, however, counter against cameras, so things like those that Limbo can be seen by. This isn't really a problem in Corpus missions since Cataclysm will break those all in one shot without them triggering. In Grenier missions, though, it can be a little bit more challenging, as this Cataclysm by itself won't destroy them and will in fact just alert them to his presence. Which is why we have the Parazon Loadout to help out. Now, with this loadout, you'll notice that I'm not using a lot of range because I utilize the Parazon components. Now, however, if I didn't have every little bit of the Parazon, I would opt in for a little bit more range, and by a little bit, I mean it's probably around 200%, and just go for about 150% duration, since that would give me the capacity to break everything in a Corpus mission, for instance. This is going to be referring to those cameras I just mentioned, without triggering any alarms. Now, you'll also notice that the loadout has something a little different about it, and that is Limbo's abilities. Limbo's abilities are usually Banish, Stasis, Rift Surge, and Cataclysm. You'll notice that this third ability in this loadout has been replaced with an icon you may not be familiar with, which is Perspicacity. This is a helmet ability that you unlock at rank 3 and allows you to automatically hack for the cost of energy. This is one of the ways that you can get around hacking objects if you don't want to old school hack them or leave Limbo's Rift for an extended period of time. Of course, some other things you can utilize are the Operator, Ciphers, and of course your Parazon. For this loadout, you will want to use Limbo, as he is the one that will be affected by the Parazon mods that we have equipped. So again, depending on which stage you are in this loadout, you'll either be going in for just pure duration, or you'll be going in for a decent amount of duration, pretty much just a prime continuity's worth, and then putting everything else in range to alleviate some of that stealthy need by breaking those lasers on Corpus missions. On Grenier missions, you will need to still deal with the cameras by being stealthy, and you can do that by utilizing your Operator or, of course, another Warframe if you'd prefer. A mod that you can also switch into the loadout, depending on your personal needs, will be Rolling Guard, which is an arbitration mod. This will grant you temporary immunity when you're leaving the Rift and allow you to hack much more safely. Now, onto the Parazon side of things. And this is where things get really interesting, as they're what make Limbo, to me, the most powerful spy frame. Because utilizing this set of Parazon mods in conjunction with Limbo's natural affinity towards not setting off lasers and being able to walk through them freely, well, when you add these 3 mods to the mix, you become literally undetectable. And theoretically, you can also switch out Auto Breach for another mod if you feel the need or don't have it, such as Failsafe, which is, well, not necessary if you have perspicacity or ciphers, but is an option all the same. Also, malicious code, Livewire, master key. Livewire is handy with this particular loadout as it would give you a little bit of CC while completing your hacks, which is very beneficial for Limbo, who's very squishy. However, of course, if you are not using perspicacity or have ciphers, or just prefer doing things old school but don't want to commit, Auto Breach is an option if you would like to have a little bit of a chance to hack safely or fail safe in the event that you fail your hack if you're doing it with one of the non-guaranteeable methods. Now, Untraceable grants you invisibility for 15 seconds after hacking, and Runtime increases your sprint speed by 75% for 15 seconds after hacking. When utilizing this Limbo loadout, which already has Rush and Speed Drift, well, let's just say that you'll be going very quickly through these missions. And that is the loadout. We'll be utilizing Livewire on this particular test. One final thing to note before we get into the URANUS Spy is if you are utilizing the Parazon and want to make use of it, you cannot interact with these hacking consoles with your operator. Operators cannot gain benefits from Parazon mods at this time, meaning that if you complete a hack using a cipher or just old school hacking with an operator, it will not proc the Parazon. The Parazon will only be procced with your Warframe. So if you want to get the most bang for your buck with this particular loadout, you must use Limbo to hack. So today's spy that we're going to be doing is Uranus, one of the 3 pre-requested spies that I was asked to do a demonstration of. So we're going to go through all of them and show you the various ways that you can go about making these hacks. Personally, I always automatically go into the Rift when doing spies with Limbo, or just in general. I mean, 90% of what he wants to do is in the Rift anyway, and spies are no exception. Some quick tips as we make our way over to the first vault. When in Grenier missions, there will always be a yellow wire, looking, well, just like this. And these yellow wires can be followed so that you can guide yourself through the missions. This makes them fairly straightforward, as there's really no secret of which way you need to go. There are, of course, secret ways that can make some of these, I should say, a little bit faster, but if all else fails, just follow the wire. This submergible test is no exception. So I will be following this yellow wire to extraction. Now, these posts over here have these conduits, which you can shoot to turn off and avoid being attacked. Some of them also have points that are going to be in the side chambers instead of around in 4 corners. So shooting that will turn off that fan. Of course, if you were concerned about getting there in time or aiming with it or something, you could always wait out the duration in one of these cubby holes. Before I continue down, I'll just do the same thing over here and shoot all 4 canisters, continuing to follow the yellow wire cable thingy. This is, of course, not necessarily necessary, but it does make it perfectly guaranteeable. This area I tend to just zoom through because all I have to do is go straight up. Now you'll find yourself directly in front of the vault, easy peasy lemon squeezy. This vault doesn't require you to really turn invisible. As the only thing you need to traverse is the submersible portion. This will not be the case for all 3 vaults. Now you'll notice that we are speedy as we run through this map. And heading over to Vault B. Also, like with most spies, A, B, and C will not remain consistent. However, with URANUS Spy, as this is the only submersible spy mission, there are only 3 vaults that you have to memorize, unlike some of the other maps that have more variants to them, like Grenier Cruise Ship, or Corpus Spies in general, which tend to just be variants of the original 3, even amongst the reworks. So this is Vault B. Using perspicacity, we again auto-hack, slip back into the rift, and drop down. We have 15 seconds to utilize our invisibility. I will be cheesing using operator and simply running to the top. If you wanted to be more stealthy and or just avoid turning on that platform, you could go another route, which is straight down through here, as this elevator, as you noticed, climbs to the top upon entry. This is a part that will utilize Limbo's rift, as the only way to get past these lasers, well, smoothly, will be utilizing his rift. There's this portion right here, and right there, that if you turn off, will turn off the lasers here, and allow you to safely pass through here without triggering anything as well. However, of course, if you're utilizing Limbo and you're utilizing perspicacity, it's fairly straightforward to just yeet your way to the top using operator. Do it with the aim of someone who is clearly the equivalent of a 2-year-old drawing a crayon across a wall, and you might actually do it before you turn visible again. Now, the third vault is again straightforward. It can seem daunting at first, but there are very simple ways to get through it, as soon as we actually get there. The longest part of URANUS Spies, or simply getting to them, as inevitably, at least one vault seems to always want you to go through a winding passageway that is frankly more confusing than the spy vaults could ever be, and if Grenier really wanted to hide all of their loot from us, they should just make us traverse these underwater pathways. But like the spies, following the yellow snake pipe is the most effective way of finding your way out of them, though trust me when I say my directional senses are the equivalent of a 2-year-old, maybe worse, and I find myself often lacking in this department. Anyway, that one was pretty straightforward, so we make our way forward some more. Finally, we approach Vault C, where we continue to hack things like the hacky person we are. Honestly, there's no need to be quite so stealthy about going about it. Since you are already invisible, it's just force of habit for me. But we will slip down through this pathway. I have literally no idea where this acolyte is going to spawn. Do they spawn in water? Who knows? Maybe it'll go away. Anyway, as we are underwater here, you'll notice that some of these fans are not quite like the others. They're looking a little worse for wear. You shoot them down. Shoot me down, but I'll get up. I am titanium. So we're following the wires, and you might be tempted to go up that path. Ignore it. Keep on keeping on for a little bit further. Yeah. I probably should have done this on normal Star Chart, but like YOLO. There are people that like to see me, and I say no, so this is where you banish them old school. Activate perspicacity, hack the sucker, and then say hasta la vista. You have successfully hackerinoed. And that's all you gotta do. Obviously, if you're not doing this on Steel Path, you'll actually succeed in escaping without an acolyte on your booty. Of course, if you don't care about that, and like shinies and Steel Essence, go ahead and go for it. Now we're going to run for our lives like we just don't care. And that's the video. Thank you, Pixies, for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, a comment. Let me know if this helped you out, and if there are any other spies that you would like to see demonstrated, just let me know. Next on the list for our spy series will be the Kuva Fortress, as that is probably the third most difficult, if not difficult, very tedious and or annoying spy that is currently in the game. Are there any other ones, though? Again, feel free to ask. And be sure to leave us a follow, hang out with us on Twitch and in Discord, and I'll see you all in the next one. Also, if you are a Warframe player, we do have a community Glyph as a Warframe content creator. You can redeem code Lady the Laddie in game to get your own Queendom Glyph and show off your pixie pride. See you all next time for Atlas.